Alex Jones Show, because there is a war on for your mind.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen, trying to restore the republic, trying to save the planet from the eugenicist-based globalist. We're having a huge effect. Paul Watson is taking over as we speak. I wanted to play this clip of the Russian news talking about the fact that Putin, Russian ambassador's murder, is a provocation aimed at undermining Syrian peace process. Very powerful report. Paul filed on this, breaking it down. That's at Infowars.com. But here is that report.
This murder is clearly a provocation aimed at undermining the improvement and the normalization of the Russian-Turkish relations, as well as at undermining the peace process in Syria promoted by Russia, Turkey, Iran, and other countries interested in settling this conflict in Syria. The only response we should offer to this murder is stepping up our fight against terror, and the criminals will feel the heat. The Russian Investigative Committee has already launched an investigation into this killing. It's been tasked with forming a working group which will have to fly to Ankara and join its Turkish colleagues in jointly investigating this murder. This is something we agreed on in my telephone conversation with the Turkish president just now. We have to know who organized the killing.
All right, that's good.
Who gave orders to...
Full clips up on Infowars.com. And please spread that link to Infowars.com and our backup, PrisonPlanet.com, because major state-sponsored organizations do not want you to be able to spread those links in these critical days leading up to Trump's inauguration. Remember, this isn't happening in a vacuum. All over the world, globalism is in retreat. All over the world, globalism is in crisis. Now, joining us is Paul Joseph Watson, one of the hardest working guys out there in media, not just for Infowars, our MVP, who hosts the show, writes articles, and does research, battles on Twitter and Facebook. So much happening, but I got to tell you, it happened. We've got Trump now basically securing the electoral votes he needs, getting the Electoral College to follow its duty. Now the media is calling it the anointing of him, as if he's not elected. Do you expect them to back off now or only intensify their operations? Because the parallels to World War I, trying to start a larger conflict, and the fact that the Russians think NATO's behind this, I absolutely agree. That's who benefits Key Bono.
Well, if you asked if they're going to back off, they've tried 5 different things, Alex. They've tried the recount. They've tried the riots. They've tried voter intimidation, threatening the electors. They've tried the fake news narrative. They've tried the Russian hacking narrative. Every single one of those 5 schemes has failed. You would think by this point they would give up and get tired of miserably failing, but they haven't. You look at Michael Moore's tweets last night, Alex. This is his tweet. He's not president for 4.5 weeks. Next idea? And then in another tweet, he's talking about Trump is not president until 12 noon on January 20th. We'll continue to fight. So even though they had the electoral vote, they're still not done. They're still desperate to sabotage this democratic election any way possible.
While saying everywhere before, when Trump was afraid they were going to try to steal it, which they tried to, look out, they're going to try to steal it. They said there's no such thing. It's never existed. But in the same breath, but everybody's hacking. The Russians are taking over. We've got to federalize it to keep us safe. And now 5 states are coming out saying the feds were hacking into their computers, trying to flip it to Hillary. I mean, this is incredible. And Bev Harris, the big liberal who's totally trustworthy, who exposed the 2000 debacle, has come out and said they tried to steal it from Trump. And of course, she even has an HBO documentary. So the fact is the Democrats are trying to steal this. Do you think they'll give up? Or I mean, are they out of bullets? What do they do?
Well, they might be figuratively out of bullets, but maybe not literally. The media has pushed this hysterical narrative that Trump represents a threat to the world for the past 6 to 8 months. They've already been several assassination attempts on Trump, and I wouldn't be surprised to see another one. And that will be the media's fake news that radicalizes that shooter. If that happens, that's a very real threat. But on top of Michael Moore, Alex, you'll like this. Glenn Beck is trending at the top of Twitter right now because he's announced an alliance with the far-left Samantha Bee Comedy Central woman to fight Trumpism. So this is the guy, Alex, who is notorious, has made a speciality out of stabbing authentic grassroots political movements in the back.
I told people 6 years ago he was a Trojan horse, an actor, a globalist Democratic operative, because I had it from Inside People. Now it's completely proven. He is the Judas Iscariot, the Benedict Arnold. He goes on the news and says, conservatives are fake. We're frauds. It's all a scam. Look, they have these real fake news channels go on NPR and speak for me and go, here's how Alex does it. So that's all he's got now, is going on these shows and groveling and begging for mainstream shows. I mean, this guy is worse than I ever thought. Whoa.
That's exactly what it is. He was sat there with her groveling, eating cake and talking about how much they have in common.
Well, he knew they were going to install Hillary. He thought that for sure. He thought he bet on the good horse. He knew net censorship was coming. Drudge was told this too, but came and warned people here. He was told that they were going to censor. He decided to roll over. He was told they were going to shut down the independent press. He was told they were coming after the alt-right. He was told Facebook was going to do this. So he went and met on his belly like a snake, crawling to Zuckerberg. Remember that? And so he's chosen to join with Sauron.
Yeah, because he stabs authentic grassroots political movements in the back. That's what he does. He did it in 2007, implied that Ron Paul supporters were domestic terrorists. In 2012, when Ron Paul ran again, he compared Ron Paul to Osama bin Laden. This is a guy who stabs authentic grassroots political movements in the back. Now, Ron Paul was a lot less on a lower scale than Trump, but same rule applies. An authentic grassroots. We know that Glenn Beck is
literally the biggest scumbag in America, because at least Moore with his 6 bodyguards that says we can't have guns, is open about his hate of this country. When you're dealing with somebody like Beck, you are dealing with the ultimate phony, the ultimate psychopath. That's why he always acts nice and sweet and cute, because they don't know how to act like that. So they put on this, fake deal like, look, I've got a puppy, I've got candy. I mean, he is the creepiest guy in those sweaters he wears to all look kind of wimpy on purpose. I mean, this guy is a predator. Paul, I'm handing the baton to you. We salute you. Have a fabulous Christmas coming up, my friend.
Okay, thanks, Alex. And continuing on that same vein, we've got an article out of the Daily Beast here, which I'll get on to read some of. But basically, Glenn Beck met up for this little cute 7-minute YouTube video with Samantha Bee, the far-left Comedy Central, quote, comedian. And basically, they held hands, they shared a cake, they talked about what they had in common, they talked about forming an alliance, again, to sabotage Donald Trump, to fight Trumpism, went into a whole dialogue about how he's going to destroy freedom of the press, he's going to kill the First Amendment. Again, complete hysteria. The media's been pushing it for months. We know it's false. But again, this is a guy who is notorious for stabbing grassroots, authentic political movements in the back. You had the Ron Paul movement, 2007. He got on CNN. Remember, that's when he was back on CNN. Said that basically Ron Paul supporters were terrorists. That's what he implied. And that the army should be used against them. Fast forward to 2012, Ron Paul running for president again. He said that Ron Paul was like Osama bin Laden. Okay, so now you've got the Trump movement, which is an authentic grassroots political movement, albeit on a larger scale than the Ron Paul movement, but same rule applies. Again, stabbing it in the back at the cost of his own audience. Remember, we've featured the graphs before from theblaze.com. Their traffic since April, May, June of this year is completely falling off a cliff because none of what he is saying resonates with any of his audience, which is why, as Alex has said, he's had to worm himself in with people like Zuckerberg, with people on the far left. Remember, this is a guy who wrote an op-ed for the New York Times saying how great Black Lives Matter was. This is a movement, Black Lives Matter, whose ideological guru, the name, the woman, they chant her name at every single rally, Assata Shakur, who is a convicted cop killer on the FBI's most wanted terrorist list. Okay, that's your ideological guru of Black Lives Matter. This is a group whose extremist, violent rhetoric has caused terrorist attacks that have killed police officers. But Glenn Beck comes out and says, no, it's a perfectly rational, reasonable movement. We need to build bridges with it. It's like saying we need to build bridges with the Klan or with Dylan Roof. I mean, that's the equivalent. It's caused violence. It's caused bloodshed. And then Trump gets up with Samantha Bee for this cute 7-minute video. and they have a meeting of the minds and they eat cake and talk about how bad Donald Trump is. It's absolutely sickening. But again, no surprise given Glenn Beck's history. But again, absolutely shocking. In the next segment, or after the next segment, we're going to talk to Annabelle Schunker about what's taking place in Germany. She's on the ground there. She's a journalist. We have ISIS, who have just come out and claimed responsibility. The Islamic State said an Islamic State soldier carried out the attack. So I guess that's nothing to do with Islam. Of course, today we had the development that the Pakistani refugee they initially arrested, they're now saying it's not him. He had nothing to do with the attack. Is that part of the cover-up? If not, then we still have an armed terrorist on the run in Germany. But ISIS has claimed responsibility for that attack. We'll be back with more news on the Alex Jones Show Live. Don't go away.
InfoWars has more than 15 YouTube channels and about 3 million subscribers. Our main channel has 1.854 or 1,854,000 plus subscribers. Now, they've been gaming the system for a long time to shut down nationalistic or patriotic media, saying we're right-wingers, saying we're extremists. Well, it doesn't matter who we are. We have a right to free speech, don't we? As long as we don't violate the rules. Well, now Zuckerberg has come out and said he's going to restrict conservative news like communist China does, calling it fake news. And Google, that owns YouTube, has announced, and they've done it now 2 weeks ago, that they're going to basically make you click the bell in your notifications. We're going to show you how to do that, or you won't get all the channels that you've subscribed to and you won't get the videos. Now, why are they doing this? It's more than just censoring. They want you to see the videos that they feed you below and beside the videos you're looking at that are corporately sponsored so they make more money. They're taking the you out of YouTube. So we're in this information war, and it's more important than ever that you promote the videos, that you like the videos, and that you send them on to others. Because the answer to the attempt to shut us down and restrict free speech that's openly now happening is for us to redouble our efforts. We're winning the culture war as true classical liberals that made this country great. We're restoring the Renaissance. So again, if you want to get our videos, so you can make your decision whether you want to see them or not. After all, that's why you subscribed. YouTube's had this since they started 12 years ago or whatever it was. And they're fundamentally changing it so you don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is promoting fake news and trash news and establishment news. It's killing real independent news. But we the people, by taking action, can break the back of this system. So please, click on the bell so you get the notifications and so you get in your feed the videos and channels you've subscribed to. I'm Alex Jones for Infowars.com.